and thank you for tuning in to the Heart of Law podcast. My name is Mirena Umizaj, and I'm your host. Today, I am so excited to have yet another powerful woman on the show. Her name is Honorable Judge Randa Trapp, a graduate of San Jose State University. Judge Trapp is a veteran of the United States Navy and a former adjunct professor of law at the University of San Diego School of Law for nearly 20 years, and she has served on numerous boards and commissions. In 2003, after practicing law for nearly 20 years, she was appointed by then Governor Gray Davis to the San Diego County Superior Court, the third largest court system in the United States. For the last 11 years, Judge Trapp presided over all aspects of complex civil litigation, including class action, business, commercial, employment, California Private Attorney General's Act, wage and hour, construction defect, personal injury, traumatic brain injury, medical malpractice, basically everything. And on March 17th of 2021, she retired as the supervising judge of the Civil Division. In April of 2021, Judge Trapp joined JAMS, the largest private provider of alternative dispute resolution services worldwide. Judge, thank you so much for being on the Heart of Law today. How are you?
I am well, Mirena, and thank you so much for inviting me to join you today and for that very warm and generous introduction. So thank you very much. It's my honor to be here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I met you at WEM in Aspen, and I believe somebody introduced us, and I felt so compelled and just curious about you and what you do. And it was very obvious right away that you were very, very interested in the world of mass torts, which is where I play, as you know. So to be able to do this podcast and peel back the layers and learn more about you is really an honor. So thank you for giving me that time. And I can't wait to really learn more. So I wanted to start out by asking, you have a very extensive career in the legal world. But before you went to law school, you were in the Navy. So tell me about, coming out of school, deciding to serve the country, and then coming back from that and going to law school. What was that journey like, and why did you decide to do that?
It was an interesting journey, and I often tell students that my journey to the law and to the bench was not linear. And I think all of the experiences that I had helped to make me who I am today. So when I graduated high school and went off to college, first of all, it was in the turbulent 60s. It's when I grew up. And I started college in the early 70s. And I went to a big college, USC, which at the time seemed like a long, long way from San Diego. Los Angeles, San Diego are only about 110 miles apart, but back then as a very young woman, it seemed like a long way away. And I didn't have very many people in my entire family who had gone to college. Actually, it was just one cousin. So I didn't have any role models and no one to really help me navigate that. And I ended up actually dropping out of college and joining the Navy, which was a really good decision, not to drop out of college, but to join the Navy because it gave me an opportunity not only to serve our wonderful country and to meet people from all different walks of life, but also gave me an opportunity to grow up and to really figure out what it was I wanted to do in life.
Yeah.
And up until that point, I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist. Didn't know any pharmacies, but I just thought since I was good at chemistry that I would be a pharmacist. Well, with my experience with the Navy and the travel and meeting different people, and again, the time that I grew up in with the civil rights movement and those things of that nature, I decided that I wanted to be in a profession where I could have an impact, where I could make change, and where I could help people. So it's then that I decided on a career in the law. So
Yeah.
while I was in the Navy, I went back to college. When I got out of the Navy, I finished college at USD with a political science major and was very fortunate to matriculate and graduate from Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C., which, by the way, was a wonderful place to go to law school.
I didn't know that. That's wonderful. Georgetown, if I had gone to law school, Georgetown was where I wanted to go to law school. So that's awesome. Did you know what area of law you wanted to practice in when you were going to law school?
I didn't. And when I talk to young people who are thinking about going to law school or getting into the law, I suggest that they keep an open mind. The
Yeah.
law is multifaceted. There are many, many areas that you can practice in. And for me, I just wanted to experience as much as I could, gain as much knowledge as I could, and then get that training as a lawyer and figure out what my niche was once I got out. So that worked well for me.
Yeah. So you get out of law school, and what do you do? Do you find a job right away, or what was that like?
That was interesting because I wanted to come back to San Diego,
Mhm.
which is where I was born and raised, and my immediate family is here. And it was difficult getting into the San Diego legal market.
Mm.
This was the mid 80s. And it was hard, but I ended up getting a really good position with the State Attorney General's office doing criminal appeals, writs, and trials. And there I really honed my legal research and writing skills, which are essential, as every lawyer knows. And the Attorney General's office had an exchange program with our local district attorney. So I was able to go there and get some really good trial experience, misdemeanor and felony trial experience, which has been invaluable in my career because I ended up in civil where trials are few and far in between. So I was able to rack up a lot of good trial experience in the Attorney General's office.
Did you like trial? Was it? I know it's for a lot of people, obviously it's the core of what it means to be a lawyer, but there's so many other people that do trials or are trialers that don't really enjoy trial because of the pressure and the work and the just the intensity that comes with trial. Where were you in that spectrum?
I absolutely loved being in trial.
Wow.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I loved the preparation that goes into trial
Mhm.
to be able to dig deeply into a subject matter and
Yeah.
to know everything that you can about a trial and about a subject or about an issue and a subject. So it was fascinating to me. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed it. And even as a judge, I really enjoyed jury trials.
Mm.
And there was nothing that I enjoyed more than watching good lawyers in trial.
Yeah.
That was a pure joy
I
for me.
agree with that. I mean, it's the one thing, my personal experience, I always wanted to go to law school and I didn't. And it's not to say that I can't or won't, who knows, but I think the idea of trying a case and standing up for someone that needs representation, I don't think there is anything more thrilling than that. And just to give your heart and soul to represent somebody else. And I've seen some amazing attorneys in trial,
Yeah,
and it's incredible. So, speaking of your career as a judge, you were a judge for 18 years. Is that right?
that's correct.
How was it being a judge for 18 years?
It was. one of the highlights of my life.
Mhm.
Um, I never thought, first of all, I never thought I would be a lawyer. And then to be appointed as a judge was a high honor.
Mm.
And I was only the third African American woman ever to be appointed to the San Diego Superior Court. So I
Wow.
felt a real sense of honor and pride
Mhm.
uh, to have achieved that. And I also feel like, and I know that, or believe that we have the best system of justice on the planet. It's not perfect,
Yeah.
but I think it's the absolute best. And to be a part of that in the position as a judge meant and means a lot to me. And as I said, I love jury trials. And I would always, in a jury trial, have a flag opening in the morning
Mm.
because it would set the stage for what we were about to encounter
Yeah.
uh, and the reverence that we should pay to the system of justice that we have.
Mhm.
I wanted to be centered and really embrace the awesome responsibility that I had in that part, in that my part in as being a judge. And I wanted the jurors and the lawyers to also embrace their responsibility in that awesome system that we have. So every morning during a jury trial, we would open with the flag opening.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Because it is a good ritual to keep you grounded and centered for what's to come. I hear so many people here, and when I say here, I mean like Americans born and raised here, that always talk about the system, sometimes not in a very positive ways because there are flaws, right? Like we said, it's not a perfect system. But I'm from another country. I grew up there. I moved to the United States when I was a few months from being 18. So I spent a good amount of my life there. And I can say without a doubt that this system is a superior system. Um, and and you get access to justice. And if you want access to justice, and there is recourse. And so again, there's a million reasons to point out, why it doesn't work. Sometimes it's not the system, sometimes it's the people, but the system is structured in a way that when you do it right, it works. So I definitely agree there. And it's wonderful because, like you say, for the reverence that the courtroom has, and to be able to preside over cases, and to really bring that form of love and compassion and justice in the room as a woman, it has to be very powerful. I just get chills as you talk, because that is such a beautiful thing, and I wish it happened more often. So what does it look like to have more diversity in our legal system? Is that an area that you have done any work on to inspire law students and other people to get in the system and to like the system?
Absolutely. I was very involved in the African American community and in the minority community in general uh, prior to my appointment to the bench, and I remained active
Yeah.
after I was appointed to the bench because it was important for little girls and boys, girls and boys of color, to see
Yeah.
me
Mhm.
and to see themselves in me.
Yeah.
Say, if she can do it, then I can do it. And I would tell them that as well.
Mhm.
And it's also important when people come to court, not just individuals, but, entities. Entities are made up of people of all different hues, of all different ethnicities. And so when people come into court, the court should reflect the community that that court serves. So it was important that I be there and that people that look like me be there and that there be women on the bench and that there be LGBTQT people on the bench and that there be, people of all different ethnicities
Yeah.
there. We're not there yet. We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But it is a focus and it's something that I have worked on and continue to work on in my career. I've tried to mentor people. Um, you mentioned that I was an adjunct professor of law at the University of San Diego School of Law. 3 of my former students are now judges
Mm.
that I know of, and 2 of them I supervised, and the 2 that I supervised are women of color.
Mm. Oh, I get chills.
Isn't that wonderful? And that's when I knew it was time to retire. No,
So,
sometimes
yeah,
we have to move out of the way to let uh, younger people come in.
yeah.
And we have to know when it's our time to move on and not be that person that stays a decade too long. Didn't want to be her. So I knew it was time to move on and to let them have it.
I love that. Yeah, and I think uh, as important as careers are, I think it's also important to not be defined by them, right? Because it's easy, especially for I think the legal world has a lot of people who I have encountered that just so much identify with their work and can't transition into anything else. So you've made so many transitions, and it seems like it's for you almost like this innate knowing when it's time for you to move on to something else. And you've moved on to something else, which is sort of the next topic and stage of your life here. So you decided to join JAMS, and you are currently an allocator around the United States, and you helped on large projects, mass actions, um, helping finalize the allocations at the end of a settlement. What has that been like for you, and why did you decide that as the next step?
Well, I decided to join the alternative dispute resolution world um, because I still wanted to uh, have an impact.
Mhm.
Uh, I wanted to retire, like I said, to move on and let others take the baton. But I still believe that I have something to contribute in this profession that has been so wonderful to me,
Yeah.
right? I feel honored and privileged. And so ADR has given me that outlet to do that and to work and to continue to help where I can. And allocations in the mass tort world has been very interesting. It's at the end of a long cycle that people have gone through. They've been hurt. They've
Yeah.
gone through a lot of pain. And now this is the way our system has. Uh, we can't take that pain away. Uh, but this notion of uh, providing money to help is what we've settled on. And so I get to do that. And
Mhm.
I get to determine uh, how significantly this individual has been impacted by what happened to them and what portion of this settlement pot they should be entitled to. And I get to read, what happened to them, and then I get to sit with them. And sometimes it's the first time or the only time someone has said to them, "I'm sorry for what happened to you." And listen to them tell their story. Because a lot of times these settlements are settlements, just that. It's not the end of a trial, it's not a judgment, it's a settlement. So they haven't had an opportunity to tell their story. So they can sit with me and we can talk and I listen, and they can release. And we talk about this is an opportunity to close this chapter of your life and move on. And it's been very rewarding for me to be able to be that person for people that have been through so much and have waited so long for this moment.
Mhm.
So it's been very rewarding work. I'm hoping to get more into the mass tort world, as a mediator, special master, wherever I can help is where I want to be.
Yeah. What do you think of the mass tort world in general?
I think it serves a very useful purpose. Um, very, very useful purpose, where um, you have lawyers that are very skilled
Mhm.
in when victims or plaintiffs come to them, they've been aggrieved, they've been injured, uh, and I mean the it's a mass tort, so we're generally dealing with lots and lots of people, and it takes a special kind of lawyer to handle that kind of work and to assemble the right kind of team to work with large numbers of people and to uh, help those people understand that they are getting um, excellent representation. And it's hard when you have a lot of people.
Yeah.
So to put together a team of people to be able to work and to help people feel like they've been heard and that they are being serviced and that their case is the most important case. Going back to that flag opening, whoever case that is the most important case in their life because for the most part, for a lot of people, it's the first time that they have been involved in a lawsuit. And
Yeah.
so the same thing with mass torts. A lot of times it's the first time that they have been involved in the legal system and they need someone to guide them, to walk them through it, and to be their advocate. And so it serves a very useful purpose to be able to work in that arena on both sides.
Yeah. I think that's what caught my attention with you because you bring that one-on-one level of and quality of interaction to a world where everything is in mass and in large numbers. And when we talk about mass torts, and I have also been in the mass tort space now for over 10 years, and there is absolutely a need for the right lawyers and the right teams to handle these cases. But like you said, a lot of the times, these people don't even get to tell their stories. They're just an intake form. And it's not that the lawyers don't want to know more. It's just, it's impossible to represent 1,000 people, 5,000 people. I know law firms that have over 30,000 people at a time. And to be able to listen and bring that level of intimacy in the representation. And so I have been advocating for a very long time that there is, social workers involved, that there are different kinds of resources made available to both the teams in the legal space, but also to the clients being represented, to be able to keep up with the amount of level of communication and volume, and to be able to really truly hear out your clients, but also have teams that are mentally strong and prepared to handle that. So I think somebody like you is an amazing, piece, even though it's at the very tail end, but it matters the most at the end, to be able to do it in a way that shows the respect, gives the client the respect along with the recovery, right?
Right.
And so I do think that, and I've been part of a lot of large, settlements, and I haven't seen that level of attention. And so in talking with you and understanding your background, and I hope that the firms listening in pay attention and reverse engineer their projects in a way where everybody involved brings a piece of really thoughtful planning and awareness and being grounded to approach these projects in the right way, not just add whoever somebody referred word of mouth without really doing the due diligence. I mean, somebody like you coming in at the tail end of a settlement, it's a very big decision that shouldn't be made in a hurry at the very end. And so I do think it's important that the audience hears and understands your role, and why it's important that it's somebody with your kind of experience and exposure to be able to keep the quality of an integrity intact while you're going from, start to finish. And sometimes, like you said, those cycles can be very, very long. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to share something, but that is the observation I had of the conversations we've had together, and why I think you'd be instrumental in a lot of these projects.
Thank you. And I appreciate and I agree with you 100%. And sometimes the end of the cycle, or shall we call it, or the legal process is just the beginning for the survivors. Now they've got to
Right.
go, so we talk about closure, uh, and then moving on and what looks like after this. And a lot of times they've been in therapy or they've seen the therapist a few times, and putting together the packet so that I can have some sense of what impact um, the the event has had on them as a victim.
Yeah.
When I sit with them, we talk about your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And you've been through trauma, right? You may have been carrying this around for the last 20 years or so, and you've seen a therapist. It's important that you continue that it not just stop because the legal process has stopped.
Mhm.
This should be an integral part of your life going forward because you need to heal. So we have those conversations.
Yeah. So when you're brought in as an allocator, how many cases can you handle at a time? I mean, sometimes these projects are in the hundreds and a lot of times in the thousands. How do you, receive the flow and work with the flow?
Well, it's a team approach. One of my colleagues and very good friends, and we are a lot of alike when it comes to this. Our philosophy is pretty much aligned. And she is Judge Gail Andler, whom you know as well,
Yeah.
out of Orange County, California. She is a phenomenal person. And we do these things together. a lot because it's a lot for one person,
Mhm.
right? It's a lot emotionally for one person.
Right.
And so we work as a team and we check in with each other, right? And to make sure, when we're doing the allocations that we're in sync. And it's important to have someone to talk about these things with,
Right.
because a lot of times our significant others don't understand really what we're dealing with and the emotional impact that it has on us.
Right.
So working as a team, and the bigger the project, I think the bigger the team,
Yeah.
uh, because it is a lot, and you don't want to, it may be a mass tort, but you don't want to treat it as mass production
Right.
when you're dealing with something as important as someone's life and
Mhm.
their emotional stability.
Right. Yeah. So you've handled a few projects so far. Are you able to share what types of projects you've worked on and what kinds of projects you look or you would like to be involved? If, somebody's listening and says, hey, I think Judge Randa would be perfect for this project.
Well, thank you. Thus far, I've worked primarily with sexual assault cases, and those are tough cases.
Mhm.
And I've done a lot of work in that area. But I'm open to any kind of case where my personality and my demeanor, as you could tell, I have a very calm demeanor.
You do. It calms me down.
Yes. So anywhere where I can fit in and help.
Yeah.
It's very gratifying to me when lawyers come back and say that their clients uh, felt very good about the time that we spent together.
Yeah.
And they thank me for that. And it's just very gratifying. It's what I like doing. And if I could help, I'm here to help.
Yeah. Well, Judge, thank you for taking the time to be on. I really wanted to highlight you because, you're just a nice human at your core. You can feel somebody's energy when you're around them. You are that person. You are calm. You are wise. You are experienced. And you're truly a treasure that we have in the legal industry. And I want to make sure that you're highlighted and that your talent and your experience is used by many attorneys around the country for what I call causes, not cases. And so I appreciate you making the time to share a little bit about yourself today. And I am fairly sure you're going to be very busy very soon.
Well, thank you so much, Mirena, for having me. And thank you for this space. I've listened to several of your podcasts, and I think that you are providing a wonderful service to the legal community. So thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for having me today.
It's
I
my pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes available on popular platforms such as iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.